So you're having trouble with Zulrah. Maybe you've killed him before in max gear and high stats, but now you're struggling on a low level account. Or maybe you're just starting out with PVM, don't want to watch a 20-minute guide on a 2-minute boss kill. Either way, this is going to help you out. Heading into some of the gear requirements and setups, I'm mainly focusing on entry level, as the wiki does a good job at providing gear progressions for you. A point would be to focus on your Trident upgrade and a Colt necklace. The damage boost you get from the percent magic items is huge. For your range gear, you can use any of a Carol's crossbow, rune crossbow with diamond bolts, or a magic short bow imbued. The DPS differences aren't that big between those. Use what you like. When you can upgrade to a blowpipe though, do it. An Anguish and Tormented bracelets are also large DPS increases, but the biggest upgrade to invest in is your stats. Every bit of GP you get from farming this boss should be reinvested into magic and range levels. Now Zulrah isn't actually a hard boss, it's a knowledge check. This means that once you know what's going on, the boss gets significantly easier. The rotations and where to stand being the primary reason for death. The purple highlighted area is where you should be standing for each phase. The blue, red, and green area is Zulrah and what phase she's in. Red being melee, blue mage, and green range. You don't actually protect from melee phase. Every time he targets you, you move out of his line of sight to avoid the stun damage. The mage phase is also random with its attacks. It will use both range and magic, and you can't prevent this. This leads to unavoidable damage. The range phase, though, is purely range and will lead to no damage being taken. The exception to this is the Jad phase, where Zulrah will switch attacks back and forth. You can see that listed at 9, 9, 10, and 11 in each of the rotations. Make sure you change your prayer to the opposite prayer while the projectile is still in the air, or your prayer will be late and you'll take massive damage. For your first couple of kills, I'd recommend just having the rotations open while fighting Zulrah. There's a plugin on the plugin hub in RuneLite to have this built into the client. The main idea is that you start at the northeast side, and as Zulrah moves, you make your way to the northwest side and back. Zulrah tends to bounce from side to side, and she also very rarely comes up as the same color twice, so you can preemptively change your prayers beforehand. Prayers come before switches as well. Make sure you're not switching your gear before your prayer. With some of the basics out of the way, I'm going to jump into some quick example kills with commentary on my thought process for the kill and why I'm doing things. So the first setup I'm using is one that I would expect maybe a typical Ironman to be using. This account's also 79 range and mage, so it's really not too high for the base starting Zulrah stats. Okay, so I'm just going to be praying mage against the mage phase, using my short bow, switching to range prayer after he goes down, and attacking as the next phase comes up. When the range phase goes down, I switch to magic prayer, making sure to pay attention to my HP. Whenever it gets to 41, I know that I'm within max hit of Zulrah, and I make sure to eat if I'm going to be chanced. You'll also see me hovering over my HP bar a lot. I'm checking when the next poison tick's going to hit. Ironman a lot of the times will not have anti-venom, so you have to be strategic in when you click your anti-poisons. Okay, I know that the Jad phase is here. Every time that projectile's in the air, I'm just switching my prayer. The main issue with this setup and why I wouldn't recommend this for long-term farming of Zulrah is that the DPS is severely lacking. You might even be better off with Fire Wave if you have a Tome of Fire. If not, I think Ivan's Blast might still be comparable. I actually haven't DPS calced that. It's not very often you end up at Zulrah with this exact setup, but I just wanted to show it was possible. If I were to do this kill again, I'd probably have taken one less anti-poison or been more liberal with my usage of it, and probably one less prayer pot. Fitting 2 extra food in there would be really nice. And obviously if you're an Ironman with access to higher foods than potatoes with cheese, by all means use that as well. If you ever get in a low food situation like this, you can also stand diagonally to the pillars when when Zulrah is in the center, or a bit further back than where I'm standing currently, and Zulrah actually won't be able to target you. But yeah, that's a kill in the minimum requirements that I set out. But yeah, as you can see, I mean, 5-minute kills are not exactly what you want to be looking at for Zulrah. That's pretty pitiful. Now I'm going to jump into one with just a handful of upgrades. This setup costs 7 mil as compared to 1 mil. It's really not much. The start of every kill, get a couple free attacks. It's 5 with a 4-tick weapon, 4 with a 5-tick weapon like the Ivan's Blast. Once you get the trident in your hands, the primary damage that you're going to be dealing is with magic. It's going to be the most accurate for you. And also, once you get the trident, as soon as you're 76 magic, I believe, if you bring an ancient brew with you, it's going to out DPS a Tome of Fire and a Smoke Battle Staff as well with Fire Wave. So, yeah, it's worth noting, you know. Okay, Zulrah targets me, I move to the side. Protecting range. I'm going to make my way to the other side of the map, because I know he just spawned on this side, he's not going to spawn on this side again. Okay, so he's making his way over, he's going to spawn in the middle. Then I know he's either going to spawn in the middle or on the west afterwards. I don't know exactly because I don't have all the things memorized and I'm not looking at the sheet, but I know that Zulrah tends to go left to right and then back. So, it's the Jad phase. If you don't know the Jad phase is coming and it hits you off prayer, just keep your prayer the same, and then when the projectile's in the air, change the prayer afterwards. The most damage you're going to take is 41 or whatever, so you'll be fine. Okay, and when the melee phase is in this particular spot, you're just going to have to tank a little bit of poison damage to avoid that big 30. Okay, and because I was on this side for a while, I'm now going to start making my way over to the right side. And it's just like a little game of going back and forth, back and forth. Yeah, but that was literally like half the time it takes to kill Zulrah in the minimum setup. If you found this guide helpful or thought there were things I could do or go over better, let me know in the comments. And the mechanic I forgot to go over earlier was the snakelings. Zulrah periodically spits out snakelings, and they all have 1 HP, so a Ring of Recoil will take them out. I bring 2 or a Ring of Suffering if I have the money for it. And if you made it this far, thanks for watching.